Hello and welcome to yourlocalnote.com. My name's RJ, Mike behind the scenes making us look and sound good. And we've got another vidcast for you. We are going to be live, and of course this vidcast gets recorded and then we feature it at a later date. Tonight we'll be talking with Avi Wisnia, and he's a singer-songwriter. He's got an album we're going to talk about. He's got a single we're going to talk about. And we've got something I think that he's done is pretty cool, and we're going to talk about that too. So a lot of good stuff happening. So what you can do is just hang in there, enjoy the show. So we're going to start off with a song from Avi's album called Something New. The song is called Sync, and we'll talk to him a little bit about that and when we get back here on yourlocalnote.com.
Tried too hard, and now you can't remember a thing that you said. You're still dead by any way you take it in. Yeah, everyone get up and get dressed. You've got a pretty big day ahead. So pack up your cornflakes and shine your new face. No life preservers here, 'cause everybody sings to the bottom. Yeah, everybody sings to the bottom. Yeah, everybody sings to the bottom. Everybody sings to the bottom of their own well. Yeah, everybody sings to the bottom. Yeah, everybody sings to the bottom. Yeah, everybody sings to the bottom. Everybody sings to the bottom. They sing to the bottom of their own wells. Oh well. So far, now get ready for the fall, 'cause you can't convince them all that you're on the ball. So everyone don't cry, don't get upset. Yeah, there's no need for disappointment. So as you shiver, wrap your feelings in the fact that you made it, then you made it out at all. 'Cause everybody sings to the bottom. Yeah, everybody sings to the bottom. Yeah, everybody sings to the bottom. Everybody sings to the bottom of their own well. So everybody sings to the bottom. Yeah, everybody sings to the bottom. Everybody sings to the bottom. Everybody sings to the bottom. They sing to the bottom of their own well. Say, oh well. Say, oh well. Say, oh well. Said, oh well. All right, you ready? Oh well, you tried too hard. Everybody sings to the bottom. Oh well, you tried too hard. Of their own well. Said, oh well. Oh well, you tried too hard. You tried too hard. Oh well, you tried too hard. All right, wait a minute. Everybody sings to the bottom. 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 Yeah, everybody sings to the bottom. Everybody sings to the bottom. See, everybody sings to the bottom. Everybody sings to the bottom. Sing to the bottom of their own well. Oh well. Said oh well.
The song is called Sync. It's Avi Wisnia, who is the singer and songwriter, and he's hanging out with us on yourlocalnote.com, and that's from his album Something New. So we'll be featuring 3 songs tonight from that album, and plus he's got a new single out that we're going to talk about. But welcome, Avi. Very nice to meet you, and I appreciate you coming out and hanging with us.
Thanks for having me here.
All right, let's talk about Sync. What is that song about? Obviously, you wrote it.
I did.
Yeah.
That's true. I did.
The rumors are true.
Yeah, good. So what is it about? What influenced you, or what got you to write a song about Sync?
Sync, I actually remember writing this song on a Chinatown bus going from New York to Philadelphia, as I often did. I love those Chinatown buses. Back when I lived in New York, that was kind of the only way to get between all the eastern seaboard cities if you didn't have a car, which I didn't while living in New York. And, my parents, my family, my friends, they still lived here in Philly where I grew up. So I would take the Chinatown bus a lot. And I don't know, I find that I tend to write a lot while in transit.
Okay.
Whether walking or riding or...
Not driving, right? You don't.
Sometimes
write
when
and
I drive, I
do you?
mean, not physically,
Come
but
on.
yeah, in my head, of course I do. Sure I do. It's nothing like the open road to inspire music.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
Good. That's good. Well, there is technology.
But I'm good at multitasking.
There we
so
go.
all those drivers out there, you're safe. You're safe. You're totally safe.
You should be able to, get something set up where you can just start talking and you don't have to get your hands off the wheel.
That's true. Some notation software.
There we go.
If that doesn't exist now, somebody should make it.
So you wrote this on the bus.
So I wrote this on the bus, and just kind of thinking about, the times where you get really down on yourself and really hard on yourself, and, you just got to kind of slog through those awful feelings and just kind of keep going. And, everybody has problems, and sometimes, you compare your problems to other people, and it's just kind of like, is your stuff really as bad as other people's stuff? And there's no sense in complaining. Just keep on going.
So were you sort of in that funk where you were down on yourself at the time when you wrote this song, and it was sort of a therapeutic moment for you?
I feel like I'm constantly in that state. But it's the funny thing about writing music, because I feel that a lot about my music too, is sometimes I'll be developing an idea and I'll just get really down on myself and thinking that it's horrible. And I find actually in the songwriting process that nothing comes out finished. You've got to work through that process and work through all those voices in your head telling you it's not good enough, and all the second guessing, because the more you filter yourself and censor your own sound, the more you're inhibiting the beautiful song that could be.
Do you have someone you go to sometimes when you're getting into that situation where you think it's not good enough, I'm not getting anywhere with this song? Can you go to someone and say, this is where I'm at, I'm missing something, what do you think? Do you do that occasionally? Because you could almost get yourself into a rut or almost on a treadmill where you don't get anywhere because you're constantly saying, this is not good enough, this is not good enough. For sure. And I'm lucky to have, when I was starting out in New York, I would go to a lot of open mics and met a lot of really great songwriter friends there. And especially now, having moved back to Philadelphia, I've actually started with a great local songwriter friend of mine named Aaron Nathans. We've started a songwriter circle in my living room. Cool. Where about once a month we get together with a bunch of songwriters that we know and songwriters from the area or songwriters traveling through, and we kind of share our songs in progress that we're working on and kind of critique it, give constructive criticism. And it's amazing how inspiring it is just to hear what the process that other songwriters are going through, the things that they're struggling with, to hear their strengths and their weaknesses. And it also gives you good practice to look at somebody else's song objectively and really point out what's working and what's not working, because sometimes it's easier, it's a little more clear when you're looking at somebody else's art to be able to say what you like and what you don't like than your own stuff. But you still have, that's a good point, but you still also have to be careful because it's their art. Well, for sure. Yeah. And that's why we only choose people that we know and respect. Right. Yeah. That we don't just let anybody wander in. But there's certainly a certain vibe that we want to create in that environment, that it's a nurturing and safe place. You can bring your art. Nobody's going to crap all over it. But you know what? I think it's a great idea because it does give you an opportunity. Because I'm sure there have been times where you've been like, I'm not really, I'm stuck on this song and I don't think it's going anywhere. I don't like it. And someone else listens to it and they go, wow, that's great. And it sort of, I guess, resets your thinking on the song, and can jumpstart you to either finish it or move on with it, and I'm sure that's a great feeling.
Yeah, more often than not, when I've brought a song that I was just really not feeling, 100% about, or just feeling really confused about what it was missing, or maybe that I felt I wasn't being clear, and I presented it to the group. Very often, it would be like, no, it's there. Like that
right.
Song is there. We get what you're going for, and so it's even if, at the very least, just a sense of validation that your point is getting across, because very often why I don't write for just to have it on the paper. I write it for an audience, and to have that connection and that interaction with the audience. So the audience reaction is a big part of the song, and if I'm missing being able to convey that in a certain way, I want to be able to be as direct or as indirect, but on purpose.
Okay, very cool. Yeah. All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to play your next song, which is called Sky Blue Sky. It's your new single.
Yeah.
And there's a nice story behind this we're going to go over, but I also want to talk more about your songwriting process and how you got into the industry, and what made you move back from New York, or what made you move to New York and then back. We'll go all over that stuff coming up. But right now we're going to play the song Sky Blue Sky. This is a new single from Avi Wisnia, and we're hanging out with him on yourlocalnote.com.
Down the mast, sailing out to sea. The sun is setting fast behind us. Silver shades and beer, just like a movie star. Side to side, you play your cavaquinho. Sky blue sky, blue sky. 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 Everyone we know has come to meet us here, leaving all the world behind us, throwing arms around, swaying with the wind, side to side, you play your cavaquinho. Sky blue sky, blue sky. 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 voice comes in waves. Sky, blue sky, blue sky. 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 Hey, don't
And that's Sky Blue Sky, the new single from Avi Wisnia, and the singer-songwriter that we're talking with tonight. And let's talk about this song, because there's an interesting story behind this.
Yeah.
So
let's talk. Let's do it.
You had members of a band in Brazil.
Yes.
Record some stuff for you.
Yes, this
and
is
then
true.
they sent it to you.
Yes.
And
well, I was on the road in North Carolina, Tennessee, Ohio.
And you finished it up when you got back to Philly, though.
Yeah, and then I recorded my parts here in Philly in my apartment. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a step back.
Yeah, unpack that. Yeah.
Why Brazil? What made you think of doing that?
So this song that I had written, Sky Blue Sky, I had performed it a number of times. It was a song I felt really strongly about, that people would ask about after every show, and I hadn't put anything out since my last album, Something New. I felt really confident in this song, and I just wanted it to be out there. And thinking about what kind of next recording project I was going to do, in the back of my mind, I knew this song is very rooted in Brazilian bossa nova and samba and just Brazilian rhythms that I heard when I was composing it. So I had this idea that I would want to record it in Brazil. And I actually had the chance to travel to Brazil in 2011 and perform on tour for a month there in the cities of São Paulo and Rio. And so while I was in Rio, I played with a bass player whose name is Bruno Miliari. Really great guy. We got along really well. I performed with him a bunch of times, so I knew that I loved his musicianship. He was a great talent, and he was actually in the process of building his own recording studio in his house. And he said, well, let's stay in touch when you get back to the States, let's do something again. And so that was always in the back of my mind, and when I knew I wanted to record this song, Sky Blue Sky, I reached out to him and I said, so you remember that collaboration idea you had? How can we do it? And he said, well, there's this thing called the internet. It functions really well. A lot of people use it. And we were talking before. I'm very I'm a little technologically ignorant when it comes to a lot of things about the internet and equipment and microphones and all that stuff.
You just like to write and sing.
Yeah. I just play. Just point me in the right direction and I'll play. But he said, yeah, we can definitely do it. I've got my studio set up here. I knew I wanted to use Brazilian musicians, especially for the type of intricate rhythms we were going for. So we spent a lot of time on Skype, going back and forth with ideas, working out the charts together. and he picked a bunch of really talented musicians that have worked with really great Brazilian artists down there. He lives in this kind of enclave of, this bohemian enclave of musicians there. So they were like, all the musicians were right down the street, and he said, "Hey, come over to my living room, my office, so we're going to record." So he recorded with the musicians. I would Skype in or I would FaceTime them, and they would send me tracks as they were working on it. And when after I was on tour in the spring, I came back to Philadelphia. I came back to my apartment, and my good friend Daniel Harris Levine, who's in a bunch of local bands and local projects here, he helped me with the technical aspects of things in the United States. And we recorded like melodica, which is like a little keyboard that you blow into. It's kind of like a reed keyboard. Mm-hmm. So we recorded that in my bathroom for the acoustics. We recorded Fender Rhodes in my kitchen. We recorded some vocals in his apartment down in South Philly. And so after all we had this cross-continental thing going on, and then we were able to put it together, and Bruno produced it down in Rio, and emailing back and forth. And it's amazing what you can do with technology. And it was amazing the first time I would listen back to the mix. It was really like we were all playing in the same room together. That's
cool. That's very cool. Now, I got to ask this question because we've talked about it both on and then while your song's been playing. You have a very strong Brazilian influence in your music. How does a Philly boy get Brazilian influence? How did this come about?
I'm not really sure where it comes from. Nobody in my family is Brazilian, and nobody speaks Portuguese.
Right.
But I always trace it back to the first couple times I heard the most quintessential bossa nova song, "The Girl from Ipanema."
Right.
I just remember when I was, I probably heard it when I was a teenager, that I really took notice of the song first. But it was just so different from everything I had grown up with and everything I had heard before, and it just it turned a light on in me. It really just something about, I just identified with the music. I fell in love with it, and it was sort of my gateway drug into more Brazilian music, and just thinking about my music in different ways, and playing with those sounds and incorporating them with other music that I listened to growing up, other singer-songwriters and jazz and pop on the radio and stuff like that.
Then is that one of the reasons why you went to New York to further your music career and more Brazilian influence, or is it just you wanted to further your music career in New York?
I ended up going to New York for school. So I went to NYU.
Okay.
And so when I was 18, I left Yardley, Bucks County, and there's not really a campus at NYU. You're just kind of like plopped in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
And, you can't ask for a better environment for a growing composer and songwriter than just to be exposed to everything and everyone all the time, any hour of the day, any ethnicity, any location. Everybody's constantly coming through there. Every artist touring through there. And it was really great. I mean, I remember one of my first places I would hang out was this jazz club in Soho that is no longer, that doesn't exist anymore. But I remember seeing a jazz bassoon player. And I had just never seen that before.
Right.
And it was, and you could see it every night there could be something new like that. And it just really opened my mind up a lot.
So you went to school for music?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what you majored in?
Yeah, I actually started in film scoring, and I thought that I would compose songs for like Nintendo games.
Right.
Was my original intent.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. My wife's cousin develops games.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in the Netherlands now.
All right. If he's looking for anyone to compose his next theme song,
I'll put you two in touch. But that's fascinating, and you would never think of that. But all of the sounds and the music that goes into that, it's a whole new area for musicians and people who do voice work and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
to
and
do that, so.
especially now they're using a lot of independent artists to not only to score but also to fill up the soundtracks in movies and commercials and video games. It's opened up.
It's as we were talking about when we were talking about the internet and the technology that's keeps going. We're in a huge transition. Yeah. And you did mention, I think it was while your song was playing, that the record companies really are non-essential now. They just don't know it yet, and that's true. And I remember when I was
not to say if there's a record company listening out there that would like to throw a bone my way, you are essential.
But yes, but when I was programming, we would talk with record people, and we would say, hey, the future is not. Good for you either, because we'd argue who had the worst future. Yeah, and they would not look at that, and I'd be like, people are not buying music. I mean, they really hurt themselves with the Napster lawsuit. That was the beginning of the end for them.
Sure.
And so,
well, it's kind of fighting the tide. Like it's really. You can talk about the ethics of it and what's right for the survival of the artists, and that should be part of the conversation, but you really have to deal with the reality as well. And the reality is a lot of people are... everything is in the artist's hands now. You can really do everything yourself, but that's a lot of time to take away from the art, where you're kind of doing business and social media and PR and all that.
I think this is where... people will try to develop something to work with the artists like that, because you have to spend most of your time writing and performing it and playing your music. So the other stuff, I think, is going to be picked up somehow. Yeah. So we'll see how that works out. But it's a very interesting time for musicians.
Yeah,
and
it is
for
an
the
interesting
entertainment
time.
industry.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's do this. Let's play song number 3, and this is off your album, Something New. We'll come back and we'll talk about that. And I do have a question or two about your songwriting style, and we'll continue with that. And then we'll see if you're going to be playing anywhere locally, live.
I will be.
Okay, cool.
I'll tell you about it.
We'll talk about that. That's all coming up after we play the song New Year off the CD, the LP, the album Something New, and it's Avi Wisnia right here on yourlocalnote.com.
Found him with his open hands. He was learning to let go. He had enough but was not full. He found it hard to swallow. Never say what really is on your mind. It's really not the time and place. Never face the world with an open hand. But this is a new year. 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 His fists were punching in the air.
The song is called New Year, off the album Something New, and we're hanging with Avi Wisnia, singer, songwriter. Jazz pop is what you call your style, which I find very interesting. And let's talk about this song, New Year. Is it basically about New Year's Eve, or is it about a new start? What is this about?
Yeah, so this song actually came about from a very dark experience that I had with a friend of mine who had attempted suicide. And I wanted to write something for my friend, just so that they could know that, that there's always a chance for things to get better. Things can always get better. And I took this idea, I actually wrote it around January, February. And so people were still thinking about New Year's resolutions. And I wanted to play with this idea that New Year's Day is such an arbitrary day. January 1st, it's an arbitrary day. People make all these resolutions on January 1st, but there's really no... who's to say that you can't make a resolution any other day?
Right. That
any day you can make a new start, you can think about things differently. It's just about your perspective and the support around you. So that's what the song's about.
Do you have to, as a songwriter, do you have to experience something to write about it?
Yes. For me personally, yes. Not that I have to experience the story that I'm writing about, but I have to.
In it. Like, with your friend that you talked about with New Year, this is something personal because it's your friend. That's the experience. So you felt, or you feel that you have to be part of the experience to be able to write about it.
Yeah, I think every song that you write about has to be personal in some way, has to come from your own experience. Even if you're writing about a story that you hear on the news, if it's something that affects you in a certain way, either in a positive way or a frustrating way, it's filtered through your voice and your perspective, that's going to really make it resonate and make it unique. So yeah, everything is a little bit personal with songwriting.
Okay, we're going to jump back to your career. You're in New York. Mm-hmm. You graduate from college.
Yeah.
You hang out there for a little bit.
Yeah, I hung out there for, I guess 5 more years after that. Mm-hmm. I actually played my first show, and I didn't even realize it was my first show at the time. So I was in school. I started getting more into bossa nova and Brazilian music, and studied a little bit of Portuguese because I knew eventually I wanted to sing in Portuguese. And I ended up doing kind of a show for friends and family at this tiny little Italian-style cafe in the West Village called Cafe Vivaldi. And they have a beautiful baby grand piano. It takes up about half the room. And so I had all my people in there, and I played this final show just to show people what I had been working on. And the owner of the bar came up to me at the end of the show, and he stood next to me, and I'm thanking people at the microphone. He says, "Okay, tell people where they can see you next." And I said, "No, they cannot. There's no other show." And he said, "Well, why don't you come back next month?"
Nice.
And so that was it. And I said, okay, well, I guess I have to write some more songs now.
Right.
And that really started me on my path. And I played there every month for a while. I had a residency there for a little bit. And every year I like to go back to Cafe Vivaldi because I feel like it's my home away from home. But that's what started me on my path to performing.
Then how'd you get back to Philly?
Yeah, I had always been coming back to Philly to play at World Cafe. The radio stations and the magazines had been really nice to me because I was from here. So I knew I would kind of split my time between New York and Philly, and my family was still here. And by the time I started really traveling a lot and performing out music festivals and things like that, and taking more and more time off from my day gigs in New York, teaching and things like that, I realized if I was going to spend all my rent money on a New York apartment and not be there half the time, it didn't make much sense.
Got it.
And so to focus more on the road, I figured, well, I have friends and family back in Philly. I know I play there a lot. It's really central. There's
Makes
a great
sense.
music scene going on. So it felt like it was the right time to come back. And, I had always said I was from Philly, but I moved away when I was 18, so I didn't really get to experience Philly. So I feel like I'm getting to do that now.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Where can people see you play live?
So I'll be playing, if you want to hop in my van and come with me to New York tomorrow, I'll be in New York for the CMJ Music Festival, performing at Drome on October 16th. It's Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be coming right back here on October 17th to perform in Ardmore at Melody's Cafe.
Nice.
It's actually a songwriters round with 3 other local artists from the area. It's I love Ardmore, and it's a cute cafe. They've got a lot of space, and we're expecting a really great night. So
Excellent.
That's the next local show.
Okay, and then of course we've got where people can find your music. It's been on the
Facebook,
screen.
Twitter, Instagram, YouTube,
All that
Bandcamp,
stuff is there.
it's all there.
Excellent.
Yes,
Very good.
all of those things.
All right.
I am everywhere. Yes.
Very, very cool. Do you have enough music that you're thinking about making another album soon?
Yeah, I have a lot of songs that have not been recorded, and I'm working on that now. So that's part of why getting Sky Blue Sky out there was really important to me, because I felt really strongly about the song, and I just wanted people to have it and to listen to it sooner than later. And so so I'm going to be working on a new album soon with a lot of new songs. So if you see me perform live, you'll get to hear some of those songs before they are recorded in permanence.
And you said the crowd reaction plays a part in what songs you pick to put on your album, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, very cool.
So yeah, help me decide by cheering really loudly when I'm done playing.
Very nice. All right, we're going to wrap things up with your last song tonight, and it's from your album Something New. It's called Something. Let's talk about this song. Mm-hmm. And this is about?
Yeah, so it's the title track of my album, and this is actually a really early song that I wrote when I was trying to figure out, becoming comfortable with my voice and what was my sound and who was I, what was I trying to do. And I was thinking about all of my musical influences and kind of trying to shy away from sounding too much like any one of them. And because none of us can totally divorce ourselves from our influences, so I ended up kind of doing nothing, and just feeling like everything I've written has been written before. And so eventually, instead of shying away from it, I embraced it. And so this song is kind of about embracing your influences and embracing things that have come before, and then forging your own path from there.
Very cool. Very cool. I like that. All right, we're going to wrap things up, and thank you so much for joining us. And just want to remind people we do have another vidcast coming up, and the next one is on October 26th. I've got it. Ego Alien is our next scheduled
Ego
one.
Alien.
Although we could have one before, because I'm waiting for people to get back to me. We could have one next week, but as of now, the next definite one is October 26th with the Ego Alien. But tonight was Avi Wisnia. We really enjoyed hanging out with you, talking about your
Thank
music
you.
and
It was my
listening to your
pleasure.
music. Sounds great. Good luck.
Thank
and when
you.
you're done with your next album, come on back and we'll promote it.
I will do. Thank you for all that you're doing for the local scene here in Philly.
All right. Thanks, Avi. We're going to wrap things up with something from his album Something New. This is yourlocalnote.com.
Cinnamon was seated by a shady tree, waiting for the breeze to roll by. She had everyone down on their hands and knees, searching for a piece of her tie. Now all the lonely people, they couldn't bear with seeing her frown, and she never noticed. Yeah, sure, they could stop, but they'd miss the pain of bending down. Every day is the same as tomorrow, and every tomorrow is yesterday's news. Let's cover always singing the same old song. I guess it's time for something new, something new. Cinnamon worked in a movie studio. That's where she fell in love with Joe. How it happened, I don't know. He was a boom operator. they're making a sequel with the same plot as the first, only with different actors saying the lines. If there's anything I've learned, he says, is that only the weak survive. Every day is the same as tomorrow, and every tomorrow is yesterday's news. There's cover always singing the same old song. I guess it's time for something new, yeah. Joe left Cinnamon later that month because he couldn't pick her out in the crowd. He couldn't find her latte in the sea of frappuccino, so we left her there to figure it out. Go on now, Joe, walk out the door, don't turn around now, cause you'll only cry. You've got to pull out on that high road and get yourself to Kinko's and buy a box to think outside. Every day is the same as tomorrow, every tomorrow is yesterday's news. There's cover always singing the same old song. I guess it's time for something new. Something new, yeah. It was Saturday in the car, and Joe was kicking his dust to the wind. With the windows down, the unfiltered air will take him wherever he's never been. All he had was his tune in his head, but not knowing how to make it his. And as he drives into the sunset, every single station sings to him how ironic it is. Every day is the same as tomorrow, every tomorrow